You've done the work, the books, the courses, the morning practice you actually kept. And on a good day, you've touched it. That state where you're clear, calm, fully yourself, and everything moves easier. Then Monday comes and you can't get back there on demand. There's a gap between the person you know you can be and the one who actually showed up to the meeting, the conversation, the moment that mattered. You're not imagining it. That gap is real. It's specific, and almost everything you've tried has asked you to take its closing on faith, with no way to see whether anything is actually working. That's the problem we're going to solve, not with another practice, with something you can feel and something you can measure. Start with the most common version of the gap, the mind that won't stop. You lie down and the thoughts keep firing. Your chest is tight. Every small thing feels urgent. You try to relax, and it's like fighting your own nervous system, and your nervous system is winning. Here's what most people get wrong about this. They treat it as a character problem, discipline, willpower. Just calm down. But racing. Thoughts and tight chest anxiety aren't a flaw in you. They're a pattern, a chronic activation that stopped switching off. The body forgot how to stand down, and you can't think your way out of a pattern. That runs underneath thinking. So the real question isn't how do I try harder, it's what reaches the pattern itself. This is a Powerform. It's a copper plate engraved with a precise geometric pattern. It looks beautiful, but the geometry is not decorative. Every line, every proportion was tuned over 30 years of research by Joel Bruce Wallach to produce a specific effect. He didn't draw these from a formula. He developed them by direct perception, then refined them the way a master instrument maker tunes a string, until each shape produced the exact state shift he was reaching for. That's why we call them harmonic geometric generators. Not jewelry, not. A meditation prop. Precision instruments built in copper, engraved with patterns that do specific work. The next question is the one everyone asks. How can a shape do anything? Here's the part that surprises people. Your nervous system responds to geometric form directly, the same way. Your eye responds to light, or your ear responds to sound. You don't decide to. You don't interpret it. The response is physiological before it's psychological. Research across environmental psychology and cognitive neuroscience documents that specific patterns produce measurable changes in autonomic arousal, in emotional regulation, in brain coherence, without the person needing to understand or believe anything about the pattern. Read that again. Without belief. The shape doesn't ask your permission. So the geometry on a Powerform isn't a symbol you meditate on. It's a signal your body already knows how to read. The pattern speaks to the structure underneath the feeling, not the thought on top of it. So why copper? Because the signal has to be strong enough to register, and copper is one of the most conductive materials in nature, second only to silver. Your body is an electrical system. Every cell holds a small charge. Acupuncturists, Qigong practitioners, and biophysicists have worked with those subtle bioelectric fields for thousands of years. Copper meets that system on its own terms. It extends and strengthens the field the geometry generates, widening the reach, deepening the shift. The geometry is the active agent. The copper is the amplifier. The symbol talks to your nervous system. The copper makes sure the signal lands. That's the whole mechanism in one line. And it's why this works without effort. You're not performing a technique. You're making contact. Here's what using it actually feels like. You rest your fingertips on the surface. That's it. No ritual, no posture you have to get right. Think of the static between radio stations. That wall of noise the modern world generates around you all day. The screens, the alerts, the emotional turbulence, the never quiet. Underneath it is a clear signal, your own deeper awareness. that you usually can't hear over the static. The tuned geometry works like a noise-canceling system. It doesn't add anything to you. It removes the interference, and suddenly the signal that was always there comes through clean. That's the shift people describe in the first contact. Not a buzz, not fireworks, a quieting. The noise drops, and you can hear yourself think. Now here's what makes a Powerform more than a single instrument. You are not one thing. You're a nested set of fields, each operating at its own range. Your cells hum with their own electricity. Beyond that, your vital energy. Beyond that, the centers and the field that surround the body. And beyond all of it, the deepest, quietest layer of who you are. A Powerform isn't one note. It's an orchestra. Each layer of copper. Geometry is tuned to a different octave of you. The outer patterns meet. The immediate physical layer, the part you feel first, the inner. Patterns reach the subtler, more expansive layers most tools never touch. That's why the effect doesn't stay on the surface. It's designed to reach the layer where the pattern actually lives. Because your patterns aren't all the same, the tools aren't either. Each Powerform is tuned for specific work. When your mind won't quiet and everything feels urgent, there's a tool for clearing that anxious activation and getting back to present moment focus. When the friction is in a relationship, the same argument every week that no amount of talking resolves, there's a tool tuned to interrupt that pattern between two people. When it's anger and reactivity, the loop that fires before you can catch it, there's a tool for the reset. When it's the heaviness of carrying too much, the scattered, fragmented feeling, the self-criticism that runs on a tape, there's a form tuned for each. You don't have to guess which one. A free assessment reads your inner state across 5 measured dimensions and points you to the pattern that needs attention first. And this is the piece your toolkit has never had. Everything else you've tried asked you to take progress on faith. You felt something, maybe, but was it real? Was it working? You had no way to know. Every Powerform comes with a free app called ConsciousnessTRAC. You check in, you use your tool, you check in again, and you watch your inner state shift measurably over time. The tool creates the change. The app proves it happened. No more faith required. This is the difference between climbing the mountain blindfolded and finally being handed the map. You're not just doing the work anymore. You're watching it land, in numbers you can see on your own screen, session after session. So let's come back to where we started. The gap between who you know you can be and who keeps showing up. That was never a character flaw. It was a missing piece. You had the commitment, the practice, the depth. What you didn't have was a tool that reaches the pattern underneath the feeling and a way to measure whether it worked. Now you have both. A precision copper instrument, tuned over 30 years, that your nervous system responds to without effort or belief. And a free app that turns, "I think this is helping," into, "I can see it working." Every time you use it, you're not just feeling better in the moment. You're training your nervous system toward coherence, and those changes compound. The benefits build on themselves. You've felt what you're capable of. The only thing left is to close the distance between feeling it and living it, reliably, on demand, with proof. That's what Powerforms are for. See them on Amazon and start tracking the shift today.
See the Powerforms for yourself on Amazon. Link in bio.